order, we will go on the record. I know some of you have been here before. We'll take the hearings in the order that they appear on the agenda. The way it will work is when we go on the record with our court reporter, I will do what we call calling the case. I will have each of the board members identify themselves. If we have a quorum, we'll say we have a quorum. I'll then ask the Deputy Attorney General to make a presentation of the petition. He will ask that I mark the petition. I will ask whether you have any objections. After the Deputy Attorney General has made a presentation of the petition, I will swear in the petitioner whose turn it is to give his or her presentation. The petitioner will give his or her presentation. After the petitioner's done, the Deputy Attorney General will ask questions, and then I'll ask all the board members if they have any questions. Then I'll ask both the Deputy Attorney General and the petitioner to sum up, and then we'll go on to the next petition. And once we have all the three petitions, the board will go into closed session, and there will be no decision reached and given to the petitioners today. You'll get it in the mail sometime in the future. Just a reminder, all the board members have had an opportunity to read your petition package, so there's no reason to repeat anything you've said in that. Instead, what the board members are really interested in hearing about is all of the rehabilitation you may have engaged in since your licenses were revoked, to show that it would not be contrary to the public health interest or welfare to grant you a license. Anything else any of the board members would want to say? All right, so we're just waiting on a board member and we're waiting on our court reporter.
Want to go? Do we have the mic on?
Yes.
Want to go ahead and call this meeting to order. I apologize for starting a little late. So, Susan, could you call the roll?
Sure. Dave Smidle.
Here.
Darren Van Sneewick.
Here.
Rhonda Brand, absent. Naresh Duggal, absent. Mike Duran.
Here.
Curtis Good.
Here.
And Servando Hernandez, absent. So record will show we have 4 of 7 board members for quorum.
Well, that's good. So we've got a quorum. If everyone would please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will first provide an opportunity for public to comment on items that are not on our agenda. Is there anybody here who would care to do that? Okay, seeing none, then we're going to move towards our petitions for reinstatement. Before I do that, I just wanted to acknowledge that we're going to be we have a quorum, and I want to make sure that it's okay with the board that instead of proceeding with, as we normally do with we don't have a court reporter, so I wanted to make sure that the board is comfortable with doing this with video and audio recording. Any objections to that?
No.
Okay.
No, I have none.
All right. We've been advised by our counsel that is okay as long as we have the agreement of both parties. We have the board's agreement. Do we have the DAG's
Yes,
agreement on that? And then each one of the, and I'm not sure how you want to do this, but each one of the petitioners needs to agree as well. So I'm going to turn this over to Judge Karen Brandt, and she'll determine whether it's that she has agreement of the others, and then she'll be in charge of the proceedings from here on. Judge Brandt.
Thank you so much. All right, let's start it out this way. Let's officially say we are on the record before the Structural Pest Control Board for 3 petitions for reinstatement hearings. We're going to take the petitions in the order they are listed in the agenda. First will be George Don Pedro, next will be Dawn Marie Charette, and the third will be Aaron Essert. I have to, before we start, make sure that I get a sense from you, specifically on the record, that you are willing to go forward with this hearing without a court reporter, but instead having this electronically recorded. Under Government Code 11440.30, it is permissible under the law to have this sort of recording if and only if all the parties do in fact agree to it on the record. So who is Mr. Don Pedro? If you would please come forward, and if you would tell us, first of all, whether you in fact do agree that you are willing to go forward with this hearing recorded pursuant to the video equipment and the audio equipment instead of a court reporter. Is that acceptable to you? And the Deputy Attorney General has said it
That is
is
acceptable as well to the people.
Thank you. Then we may go forward with this hearing. Please be seated, if you would. Before we went on the record, I explained the process that we would be following today. As I said, the way we would start with the Deputy Attorney General will start first in making a presentation of the petition. Second, after the Attorney General has presented the petition, I will give you an opportunity. Do you call yourself Don Pedro? Mr. Don Pedro?
Yes, that's my name.
Okay.
Call me George. That's my first name.
We'll do it,
That
Mr.
one is okay.
Don Pedro. You will get an opportunity to present your case.
Thank you.
Then the Deputy Attorney General will have an opportunity to ask you questions, and then each of the board members will have an opportunity to ask you questions.
Okay.
Okay? Are you ready to proceed?
I think so.
All right.
Kind of knows.
Mr. McDonough, have you already identified yourself for the record?
I will, Your Honor. Good morning. Tim McDonough, Deputy Attorney General, appearing on behalf of the people of the state of California pursuant to Government Code Section 11522.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would first like to identify and mark for identification and offer into evidence Exhibit 1, which would be the original petition packet and accompanying documents. The board members and petitioner have been provided with a copy of the same set of this exhibit. Exhibit 1 consists of the following. In August 28, 2017, correspondence from the board confirming the petitioner's hearing date for today at this time and location, and a request for confirmation. There is the petitioner's signed confirmation request regarding this hearing at 8 a.m. on October 10, 2017. That's dated August 30th, 2017. An August 28th, 2017 letter from the board to the petitioner regarding the guidelines for petitions for reinstatement or reduction of penalty, and the guidelines themselves confirmed received by Mr. Pedro, or Mr. Don Pedro, with his signature on page 3. That's dated May 2nd, 2017, and that's 3 pages total. There is a petition for reinstatement of revoked operator's license number OPR 8197 in branch 3, submitted by petitioner. It's signed and dated May 2nd, 2017. It's 2 pages. There is a petition for reinstatement of revoked license declaration, signed and dated May 2nd, 2017. That is 2 pages. There are documents from the Contractor State License Board regarding petitioner's General B Contractors license number 626068. That's 2 pages. There's a request for live scan services for petitioner, which was completed on May 11th, 2017. There is a certificate of completion of courses in pest control dated June 14th, 2017. It is 1 page. There is a September 14th, 2017 memorandum from the Structural Pest Control Board staff stating that petitioner has not paid a $2,550 fine imposed by the board for violations of Business and Profession Code Section 8516, Subdivision B, and Section 8612. This memorandum also states that petitioner has not provided proof of payment of $14,715 to Ms. Llewellyn, which he agreed to pay pursuant to stipulated settlement and disciplinary order in case number 2010-57. Finally, the memorandum mentions that pursuant to that stipulation, petitioner was supposed to pay a $50 inspection fee to the Structural Pest Control Board, which has not been paid. That memorandum is 1 page. There is a letter decision order regarding petitioner's 2016 petition for reinstatement, which was denied on May 25th, 2016. The decision, has an effective date of June 24th, 2016. Also attached to that are the petition for reconsideration and related documents. It's 13 pages. There is a letter and related documents to petitioner's non-compliance with probation regarding accusation number 2010-57. Included are a series of communications between the board and petitioner and or his representative regarding the passing of petitioner's sister and request to toll probation until he has had an opportunity to settle family affairs abroad. That's 8 pages. There is a letter and decision and order in case number 2012-55 regarding the accusation and petition to revoke probation against Don Pedro's Termite Control Company, license number PR 1450, and George Don Pedro, operator's license number OPR 8197, with an effective date of February 21st, 2013. That is 13 pages. That decision revoked petitioner's company license and his operator's license with an effective date of February 21st, 2013. Also included is the accusation and petition to revoke probation in case number 2012-55. A copy of the decision and order in the matter of the accusation petition to revoke probation in case number 2012-55, which includes January 22nd, 2013 correspondence revoking petitioner's company registration and operator's license effective February 21st, 2013, the adopted decision, as well as the filed accusation and petition to revoke. Also included is a stipulated settlement and disciplinary order regarding accusation number 2010-57 and related documents. That is 13 pages. There is the accusation from accusation number 2010-57 against Don Pedro's Termite Control and Don Pedro's operator's license. There is a March 22nd, 2012 correspondence from the board regarding the citation fine number CF 12-89, which was issued on February 7th, 2012 for $2,550. That is 7 pages. Your Honor, there is a November 2nd, 2012 operator's license cancellation notice informing petitioner that his license was canceled on June 30th, 2012 for failure to renew or for failure to timely appeal, as well as a response letter, and that's 2 pages. Your Honor, finally, there are documents related to citation number CF 2018-114, which was issued to petitioner with an effective date of October 3rd, 2017, which is alleging petitioner was engaging in the practice of structural pest control without a license in violation of Business and Professions Code Section 8550, Subdivision A and Subdivision E, and as well as California Code of Regulations. Finally, there are license histories, certified license histories for operator's license number OPR 8197, as well as company registration certificate number PR 1450. Your Honor, I would ask to approach.
You may do so.
Thank you. And would ask that this packet of documents, which is mentioned, be entered into evidence as Exhibit 1.
I've marked for identification as Exhibit 1 the petition package just described. Mr. Don Pedro, any objection to Exhibit 1 coming into the record?
No.
Exhibit 1 is in evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, I'd like to give a brief summary of the case.
You may do so.
Your Honor, the board issued petitioner's operator's license number OPR 8197 in Branch 3 on July 28, 1988 as owner and qualifying manager of Don Pedro's Termite Control Company in Oakland, California. In 2009, the consumer filed a complaint with the board against petitioner, which resulted in an accusation relating to, among other charges, fraudulent notices of work completed, working without required insurance, fraudulent statements made to the board regarding Branch 3 work, failure to complete work for the contracted price, and improper certification of completed work. On or around February 9th, 2011, petitioner signed a stipulated settlement agreement and order admitting the truth of each and every charge in that accusation, agreeing to 3 years probation with suspension terms and conditions. The terms included payment for inspection fees and reimbursement to the consumer complainant in the amount of $14,715. That decision was made effective June 2nd of 2011. On July 14, 2011, respondent was notified he was delinquent in making a first payment to the consumer in satisfaction of the restitution order. On July 25, 2011, petitioner requested to have his probation tolled while he left to attend to family matters overseas. On August 4th, 2011, the board informed petitioner that the request to toll probation was inadequate as it did not contain specific information regarding his departure and return, and thus denied the request. On February 7, 2012, the board issued citation and fine number CF12-89 to petitioner in the amount of $2,550 for failing to file WDO and failing to properly display the license of the qualifying manager in the company office. On April 20th, 2012, the board filed an accusation and petition to revoke probation against petitioner alleging violations of probation and attempting to recover compensation against the consumer for work performed while his license was canceled. November 2nd, the board sent petitioner notice of cancellation of his operator's license and company registration for failure to renew and for failure to timely appeal the citation and fine. On January 22nd, 2013, an order was issued by Administrative Law Judge Crowell revoking petitioner's company registration and his operator's license. On June 25th, 2016, a decision was rendered in petitioner's petition for reinstatement of his operator's license number OPR 8197, and that petition was denied. Your Honor, on October 3rd of 2017, petitioner was issued a citation with a $5,000 fine for petitioner allegedly being engaged in the practice of structural pest control without a license in violation of Business Profession Code Section 8550, Subdivision A, and Subdivision E, as well as violations of the California regulations. The fine has not yet been paid, but the payment is not yet delinquent. Your Honor, that concludes the presentation of the documentary evidence and the case history. I'm prepared to proceed with questions for petitioner at the appropriate time.
Thank you. Mr. Don Pedro, it's now your opportunity to put on your case. The first thing I'm going to do is swear you in. So if you'll stand up and raise your right hand, I'll swear you in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Would you please be seated? And as I said before we went on the record, what the board is most interested in hearing about is your rehabilitation to provide assurances that if your license were reinstated, it would not be contrary to the public health, welfare, or interest. You may proceed.
Thank you for allowing me to say something on this matter. I sincerely don't know where to start, but in reflecting back to my incident, I think the whole thing will be summed up as
If you could keep your voice way up. Is your microphone on and right next to your mouth?
I think this one is working. Okay, I'm sorry. Is that better?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. My whole matter will be summed up as financial difficulty, and that's what has been the main focus amongst problem of my entire case. If I was probably, so to speak, have money like my colleagues, this matter wouldn't have been here. The $14,000 would have been paid and stuff like that. But the $14,000 was not paid, not because I don't want to. It was I was going through a whole bunch of financial difficulties, and a whole bunch of other things that I couldn't pay was all due to my financial situation. And that financial burden is still my biggest haunt to this day. I don't know what to say, but I do sincerely apologize for being unable to pay those dues because of my financial problems. If the financial problem wasn't there, we wouldn't be here today, and that's why we're here. But that said, I have worked hard, tried to maintain myself as a law-abiding operator, to keep to the rules and regulation. I've gone back to school to take some classes to rehabilitate myself, so I could be a better operator if you all will give me a second chance. On doing that, just recently, I think in July or August, a friend of mine a colleague of mine that I'm not a colleague, a friend in 20 years, asked me to treat his place. I violated the rules. I did it. I sincerely apologize. This was in Hercules. I reluctantly said I wasn't going to do it. He said, this is someone official, want me to help me to do it, and I apologize. I have no contest. I did, and throw myself to you guys, and helped them out, and I didn't get paid one way or the other. But that's beside the point. The fact that I broke the rules, and I hope that it will never happen. I have 4 kids and a wife that is since severely sick with chronic illness, MS, so to speak. And sometimes it's really, really hard to make ends meet. And that's why I haven't been able to pay all these dues. And in good faith, the inspection fee that I wrote a check, the check bounced. And today I brought that check back if could be accepted. I have $50 right here to pay back the Structural Pest Control Board to have bounced the check as far back as 2000. 13, I believe, when the inspector came. I did pay the check, but it bounced because there was just no funds. It was the hardest and most difficult times of my life. And it's still difficult. I'm still struggling. And if I'm able to get my license back, I might be able to recoup and start paying back stuff that I owe. And the lady that I was to pay the $14,000 to, the guy that introduced me to her, his name is Chappie. I went to him one time that maybe we should start making some payments. And I was going to give him a check, and he said, "Oh, don't you hear she passed away?" I don't know how true that is, but that's what he told me. So I just said, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then I left. But here is a check to the Structural Pest Control Board for bouncing the check that I bounced. I really don't have anything to say, but my main problem and main issue of my stuff is my financial situation, and it's still a burden today. And I leave my hands to you guys to see if you have to reinstate me so that I could start paying things back. I'm 59 years old. I'm almost 60 next year. So how long do I have to work in this industry? The main thing that I really want is to have a legacy that I retire as a pest control operator and not a guy that is in the shadow. So I could go abroad and help other pest control operators as a licensee. I wouldn't do too much physical stuff anymore, but probably more on the theoretical part of the industry. And that's one of the main reasons I'm pleading and pray that my petition is heard in good faith. Rest my case.
Are you ready for questions from the Deputy Attorney General?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may proceed with your questions.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Don Pedro, so just to be clear, you haven't paid any of the $14,715?
I haven't paid. Yeah.
And you haven't paid any of the $2,550 fine?
I haven't paid any money at all. The only money that I have today is $50,000 to reinstate the check that bounced.
Can you briefly explain, in your petition you submitted a document that you completed some coursework through pesteducation.com. Can you explain what the coursework was and what you got out of it?
It's a training that we all take when we renew our license. It's a course on typically all the pest work that you're involved with. It's very intensive. The big old book I had to go through, read for several hours, and took a test and successfully passed it. And the instructor was pleased with my response. I was happy with that.
Okay. Besides those courses, since your license was revoked, have you taken any other courses, training, or continuing education to keep yourself knowledgeable regarding new advances in structural pest control work?
Yes, I have gone to in San Jose to sit down on work ethic courses and stuff, and online stuff. That's about it.
Mr.
If I
Duncan,
could ask you once again, if you could just pull that microphone a little closer to your mouth.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
What are your plans should the board decide to reinstate your operator's license? Would you work for someone else or start a company?
I would prefer to work for my company, which is Don Pedro's Termite, and be a law-abiding person.
Your company license, though, you're not seeking reinstatement of your company's license today, correct?
I would like to have that, if that's possible. But whatever is rendered to me is okay, but I would rather have both my license and my company license reinstated.
Okay, but you would agree with me that in your written petition, you just noted your operator's license as what you were seeking for reinstatement, correct?
That's correct. That might be an oversight on my side, not answering the questions correctly, but that's correct.
And Mr. Pedro, on your petition for reinstatement of your revoked operator's license, you listed the number as OPR 8127. Was that just a typographical error?
Ken, what page are we talking about?
Yes, we're on the 7th page of the packet.
7.
Actually, the 6th page. On your, the first page of your
One.
petition.
Okay. 6.
6th page, yep. Do you want me to help you?
Please.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right here on the first page of your petition, you noted the number OPR 8127, and in fact, you're looking to reinstate number OPR 8197. Isn't that correct?
It must be accident.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
was intentional.
Okay.
Yeah. It's error.
Okay. I just wanted to clear that up. If the board were to reinstate your license, would you be willing to take the most recent examination for an operator's license as a condition of getting your license back?
If it's one of the. I could do that.
That would be something you'd be agreeable to? So very recently, actually, last week, you received a citation from the Structural Pest Control Board for doing structural pest control work in Hercules without a license.
Yes.
Okay. And it sounded like on your, from your testimony that, in fact, you did do that work in July of this year, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And why did you do the work knowing that you were unlicensed?
George is unfortunately his guy's name is George. George Gale. I've known him 20 years ago, and he called me and I told him that my license is being suspended, and I'm not doing that anymore. And he said it's not an excuse. He just keep pushing and said he just needed treatment done, and he, I don't know if I could use this analogy as the Garden of Eden with the forbidden apple, you know, where Adam was saying he don't want to eat apple, and Eve was pushing until he ate apple. This guy was pushing. I fell and went to do the treatment for him. You know, it wasn't a good thing. It wasn't what I wanted to do, but I went under the circumstances and did the treatment for him. And he questioned, after the treatment, he wanted me to treat the outside. I said, no, that's not going to be environmental safe for the people that is on the sub area that need to be treated, you know. And he said, asked some of my colleagues if that was correct. I think that's what they called the board. But the treatment was only in the sub area, which I told him from onstart that I wasn't nonsense anymore. Although he was going to pay me, I told him, don't worry about it. And never called him to this day, and he never paid me for the services, and that was it.
But you did get paid initially $200 for the inspection, correct?
Yes.
And you shouldn't even been doing an inspection because you weren't licensed, correct?
Correct.
And in light of this recent violation, how can the Structural Pest Control Board be assured that if they do license you, that you're going to follow all the regulations and rules that are in place to protect the public?
Well, in fact, that I did the treatment for him. I followed all rules and procedures that are in the rules and regulations of the Pest Control Board at that time. I made sure that there was nobody in, not to harm anybody, and I think George will testify to that. I made sure that everybody was out. I posted a sign that nobody should go in 2 or 3 hours of time, and even took it further, not to even apply chemical on the area that he was suggesting, and that was wrong. I jeopardized myself to stay on course to make the right decision, you know. Even though I could have done that and everything would have been hush-hush, but I stayed on the gun to stand with the rules and regulations with the Pest Control Board, you know, and carry that stuff, even though that things were not nonsense on my side, you know.
Right. Since your license has been revoked, other than the incident we were just talking about, have you been doing any structural pest control work? Just the one incident in July of this year.
Hold me on. I think he pushed and pushed and pushed. You know, I said they've gone so many, whatever, and I fell for it. You know, I shouldn't have on the serious side because it's not worth $200.
You know, those are the questions that I have.
All right, let's see if any of the board members may have any questions. Member Good, any questions?
Yes. Mr. Pedro, what really concerns me is this last instance of you doing unlicensed activity. And furthermore, looking at your past history and with your PR license, there was a number of times where you didn't carry a surety bond or insurance, and at that time, they were suspended back then. And then now you're out practicing without insurance. I mean, do you understand the kind of the risk that, I mean, we're a consumer board, and the liability that you're putting yourself, the consumer, and your family at risk if you go out and hurt somebody, or there, God forbid that there's some gross negligence or mistake, you're uninsured. And that really concerns me, that you have a past history of this, and then you're out there really performing. Do you kind of understand the severity of that?
I do understand, and I think my first statement to what you just alluded to right now was based on my financial situation. If my finances have been good, my insurance would never lapse. When people say I have good credit, I have bad credit, there are some folks that will go out there and get drunk and don't pay their dues, but there's some folks that are on the legitimate side is because of their financial burden. So my insurance laughing at that time was based on my financial situation. I love my company very much. I'm not going to not have insurance, liability insurance, and let it lapse for the sake of getting lapse. No, that is not me. The bottom line is that sometimes the money is not there, and you are held up with, what do I do with the $5 I have? And it's not intentional at all. It's just financial. My main problem today, as I sit before you all, is not that I'm a bad person, I'm doing things maliciously. It was mainly my financial situation. If my finances was okay, I promise we're not going to be here. I keep the rules and regulation. If I get a parking ticket, I pay. I'm not that kind of a person that to say that, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, because I feel like it. That's not my style. And to your answer, I understand that. But the only problem was the finance. That's all.
Okay. You also testified earlier that you've taken a lot of online courses to try to keep yourself current with. Did you bring any additional documentation to those courses and certificates that you've been maintaining?
No, the only one I brought is the one I took, right?
I think that okay, I have no further questions.
Thank you.
President Tamayo?
No, I don't have any questions at this time.
Member Van Steenwood?
None at this time.
Member Duran?
Yes, I have one question. I'm an industry member, Mr. Don Pedro.
Yes, sir.
What concerns me are several issues. And one of them is that we have to comply with the Business and Professional Code and with the Structural Pest Control Board, State of California rules and regulations. You are aware of that.
Yes, sir.
There's people that we have out there and their citations that have not been taken care of. Have you ever thought of coming down or talking to the disciplinary action analysis to see what can actually be worked out, how we can put all these fines and problems that you've been having in one container so that we could address them all?
Yeah.
I'll finish up here real quick. My main concern is this pattern of business that has happened in the past, as a board, we cannot have that continue going forth by issuing you a license. Can you explain to me how we can solve this problem so that we can go forth?
Okay. Thank you for what you just said. I didn't know that there's a thing whereby I could come to you guys and we could lump sum everything up and see what I could pay. If that is available, I sure would like to get into that program. All the money that is owed is put it together and have a reasonable amount that I could pay that is affordable. I would definitely like to do that. And if I'm given the opportunity to get licensed again, that will help me to pay all these dues that you just said. Make it a should I use the word win-win? I don't know. Get my license, I'll be able to pull business in and pay the dues to the organization. You know.
Well, Mr. Don Pedro, that would be my recommendation, that you contact them to see if there is a program out there that might be able to help you put this this problem that we're having together.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you,
Don
sir.
Pedro.
Any further questions from board members? Any further questions from the Deputy Attorney General?
No, Your Honor.
Would you like to make a summing up, Mr. McDonough?
Just briefly, I'm not going to take a position on how to resolve the petition. Obviously, that's up to the board. I would just point out that the burden of proof on these petitions is on the petitioner, and that standard of proof for the petition for reinstatement, as you know, Judge, is clear and convincing. I would leave it. I think there's, with the record and the testimony, there is presented to you all the information and to consider all the various factors in making your decision. And I would like to wish Mr. Don Pedro the best of luck, regardless of the outcome of the hearing.
Thank you. Mr. Don Pedro, did you want to make any final statement?
No, I just say thank you to every one of you guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody for taking the time out here. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you.
Thank you. All right, the matter is submitted.
Submitted, Your Honor.
Can I
Record
leave this check here? I'll present it to you. What do I do?
This is a new check.
Yes.
This is a check for the Structural Pest Control Board, $450. It is dated today.
May I suggest that Mr. Don Pedro work with whoever is the administrative person in the board with regard to this issue, if that's acceptable to the board?
Very good. Let me talk to Melissa.
All right. Thank you. The matter has been submitted. The record with regard to this petition is now closed, and we are off the record for this petition. We're going to switch. Does anyone need a break before we go into? All right, we're going to be off the record for a few minutes for if anybody needs a personal break. All right, we are back on the record before the Structural Pest Control for our second petition hearing for Dawn Marie, is it Charette? Charette. Accusation number 2006-57, OAH number 2017-090680. Once again, I am Karen Brandt, the Administrative Law Judge, and we have a quorum of the board. You watched the previous hearing,
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
and you've been through this before.
Yes, I have.
Do you have any questions before we start?
I do not.
Ready to go?
I am.
Are you in full assent that we can in fact record this hearing, since we do not have a court reporter in accordance with Government Code 11440.30? Do you agree with that?
I agree with it.
And Mr. McDonough, you again agree with it?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, then we shall proceed. Mr. McDonough, did you want to present the petition package?
Yes, Your Honor. For the record, Your Honor, Tim McDonough, Deputy Attorney General, appearing on behalf of the people of the state of California pursuant to Government Code Section 11522. I would like to mark for identification and offer into evidence as Exhibit 1 the original petition packet with accompanying documents. The board members and petitioner have been provided with a copy of the same set of these documents. I'll briefly run through the documents explaining them, and they consist as follows. An August 28th, 2017 correspondence from the board confirming petitioner's hearing date for today at this time and location and request.
I'm going to interrupt for a moment. Our
Sure.
court reporter just walked in.
Okay, yes, Your Honor.
Would you like to stop and get this on the record before our court reporter now that she's here?
Actually, I think that would be my preference.
All right. Why
Yeah.
don't we do that? So we are going to go off the record, if that's okay, and we're going to start up again
We're good.
when the court reporter is all set up. I thank everyone for their
I'm
indulgence.
just going to step out, Your Honor, for about 2 minutes.
You can do so. Let's go on the record. We are on the record before the Structural Pest Control Board for our second petition hearing today with Dawn Marie Charette, accusation number 2006-57, OH number 2017-090680. Once again, my name is Karen Brandt. I'm the administrative law judge who's been assigned to preside over this matter. Since we're starting fresh with our court reporter, why don't we do this? Why don't we start with identifying all the board members for the record to ensure that we have a quorum. Let me start with our board member to my right.
Mike Duran, board member, industry member.
Darren Van Steenwyk.
Dave Tamayo.
Curtis Gunn.
We have a quorum, and if I could please have the Deputy Attorney General identify himself.
Yes, good morning, Your Honor. Tim McDonough, Deputy Attorney General, appearing here on behalf of the people of the state of California pursuant to Government Code Section 11522.
And we have our petitioner, Ms. Charette, here representing herself. Am I saying your name correctly this
Yes, you
time?
are. Yes.
And as we started out before, you watched the prior petition hearing,
Yes, I did.
and you've been here before,
Yes, I have.
and so you understand the procedures in this matter?
Completely.
All right.
2017 correspondence from the board confirming the petitioner's hearing date for today at this time and location and a request for confirmation. Petitioner's signed confirmation request regarding the hearing today, dated September 1st, 2017. There is a May 10th, 2017 letter from the board to the petitioner regarding guidelines for petitions for reinstatement or reduction of penalty. The guidelines themselves are confirmed, received by Ms. Charette with her signature on September 1st, 2017. That's 3 pages total. Your Honor, there is the petition for reinstatement of revoked operator's license number 9119 in branches 1 and 3, submitted by petitioner, signed and dated June 26th of 2017. It's 2 pages. There is a petition for reinstatement of revoked license declaration, signed and dated June 26, 2017, 2 pages. The request for live scan service for petitioner, which was completed on September 5th, 2017. There is a copy of the decision and order in Ms. Charette's second petition for reinstatement brought before this board on April 6, 2016, and related petition for reinstatement documents. That is 16 pages. The order denied the petition on May 25, 2016, and had an effective date of June 24, 2016. There's a copy of the decision and order in Ms. Charette's first petition for reinstatement brought before this board on October 16, 2014, and related petition for reinstatement documents. That is a total of 15 pages. The order denied the petition on December 12, 2014, and had an effective date of January 11th, 2015. Following that are relevant documents related to this petition. There is a notice of entry of judgment denying petition for writ of mandate. It's 2 pages. There is a judgment denying the petition, denying the second petition for writ. It's dated March 12, 2014, and the certified minute order from February 24, 2014, and that's 10 pages. There's also the petition for writ of mandate filed June 7, 2013. That's 12 pages. There is a letter and decision after remand to the board, ordered on May 13, 2013, with an effective date of June 12, 2013. That is 14 pages. There is Judge Curiel's decision after the first petition for writ, dated September 30, 2012, which remanded the matter to the board for reconsideration. It's 28 pages. There's a January 25th, 2012 order granting an immediate stay of the board's decision. The petition for writ of mandate that was filed on January 23rd, 2012, that is 10 pages. There is the board's order modifying the board's decision effective January 26, 2012, and that is 39 pages. There is the board's order of non-adoption, which was July 8th, 2011. That is 2 pages. There is ALJ Maciejewski's, MATYSZEWSKI'(S) proposed decision dated April 4th, 2011. That is 95 pages. There is the second amended accusation, number 2006-57, and that's 24 pages. There are the license histories for operator's license number OPR 919 in branches 1 and 3, as well as field representative license number FR 21851 in branch 3, and field representative license number 12741 in branch 1. The license histories amount to 8 pages. And finally, in those license histories, a company registration certificate for AMBD Incorporated, doing business as DNS Termite Control, with a number of PR 1164. At this time, I'd ask to approach
You may do so.
and submit these documents as Exhibit 1. As evidence.
I'm marking for identification as Exhibit 1 the petition package just described. Any objection to Exhibit 1?
No objection.
Exhibit 1 is in evidence.
Your Honor, at this time I'd like to give a brief summary of the case.
You may do so.
Petitioner was issued field representative license number FR 12741 in branch 1 on or about January 18th of 1985. Approximately 8 years later, on or about April 16th, 1993, petitioner was issued operator's license number OPR 9119, at that time also in branch 1. A few weeks later, petitioner was issued field representative license number FR 21851 in branch 3. On or about May 18, 1998, the operator's license was upgraded to include both branch 1 and 3, and field representative license number FR 21851 was canceled. In March 2000, petitioner became the qualifying manager for DNS Termite, and in 2004, she began serving as the president as well as the qualifying manager of the company. On or about March 2006, an accusation was filed against petitioner as well as the company and others, alleging a number of violations of Business and Professions Code and California Code of Regulations in connection with food and agriculture code sections relating to the fumigation of a 30-unit condo in San Diego that was performed in March of 2005. Board members and Your Honor, the factual circumstances of this matter and procedural history are quite extensive, and because they are part of the record in this matter, I will not go into extensive detail. What is important is that ultimately, after a series of appeals in Superior Court, which included a remand to the board, Petitioner's operator's license was revoked effective June 12th, 2013. Company registration certificate PR 1164 was placed on probation for 3 years with standard terms and optional terms and conditions. There was also an order for suspension for 150 days. Petitioner's operator's license number OPR 9119 was revoked outright. On or about July 22nd, 2014, petitioner filed a petition for reinstatement of her operator's license. The petition was denied. I think at that time probation for the company registration was modified with respect to the suspension only, and it was reduced from 150 days to 105 days as to branch 1 activities only. On or about April 2016, petitioner filed a second petition for reinstatement of her operator's license. The petition was denied. Petitioner appears today again to petition for reinstatement of her operator's license number 9119 in branches 1 and 3. She has submitted a number of documents contained in this packet in support of her request. Your Honor, at this point, that is my summary of the case.
Thank you so much. Ms. Charette, it's now your opportunity to put on your case. Would you please stand and raise your right hand? I will swear you in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Would you please be seated? And you may proceed with your presentation.
Okay. I've been coming to the board for the last 3 years for reinstating my license. I have done several things to prove to the board that I have found different ways and become a better person and rehabilitated myself in regards to the rules and regulations and industry standards and everything. There's been numerous occasions where I've had the opportunity to perform and provide structural pest control duties, and I don't. I go out of my way to stay off job sites. I never go to a client's house without a licensed representative for my company. I do everything by the book. I have been effectively running this company for the last 13 years without any infractions. I have done everything in my power to make sure that we are the best motivated company out there to live by those rules and regulations. I can't sit here and cite you numbers, but I do know what they are. I know my rules and regulations in and out, and I preach them to my employees. We need to be the better company, to be not just a better company, a better provider to our consumers. And this is something I pride myself in. And I do understand that I can actually do my job without my license. I do not need it. It is something I think would enhance the employees as well as the company. There are duties that I would like to be able to perform to take the burden off for my employees. Like pull a cap off of a fan to start a ventilation. I'm fully capable of doing that. My guys' schedules are really tight. We've hired people in and out to just do that job. And sometimes it's just hard to have somebody on part-time for just that. Doing what we call a trouble call, going out and rendering my opinion of, no, that's fungus and dry rot, or is that termite damage? I can't render that opinion. I have to take a licensee with me, which removes him from a position of doing sales where it does make an impact on his income. Not significant, but it's still there. I have gone out of my way again and again to prove my rehabilitation. I've gone to numerous classes. Over the last year, I've not tried to gain any certificates from the classes that I've attended due to the sheer fact that I'm done being humiliated and embarrassed of not holding a license and have had one, and now I don't. It's difficult to endure it longer than I should, but I do keep up to date with all the rules and regulations. I'm on the list for the minutes believe it or not, I actually pick them up and I read them. The rules and regulation changes, the new book came out, I sat down and read quite a bit of it. And I'm proud of our board for recognizing the changes in technology and in life circumstances for upgrading those rules and regulations. And it's a great thing that the board is also growing. But today I come in front of you asking, please reinstate my license. Not just out of convenience, though it would be. I think I'm a good person. I have not broken any laws, and I've done everything in my power to make sure that my employees don't break any laws.
Are you ready for questions from the Deputy
I
Attorney
am
General?
ready.
Mr. McDonough.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Charette. Do you have any criminal convictions that the board is not aware of?
Criminal convictions? Not that I'm aware of. Not unless it's a speeding ticket.
No, that.
Okay.
I'm going to read a brief paragraph from Judge Taylor's decision in Superior Court of California, from the Superior Court of California, County of San Diego, and this was a second writ decision on
You
your
have a
case.
place you can help us find that?
Yes, Your Honor. It's in attachment B, and it's page 7 of attachment B to the 2014 petition. Could have a yellow sheet on it that says attachment B, judgment denying petition for writ of mandate with minute order, pages 1 through 8.
Thank you.
And I'm just going to read this and then ask you for a response, if you could.
Yes, sir.
And I'm in the second full paragraph, halfway down. It states, as for Dawn Charette, there was no showing that she was not allowed to continue to work in a family business in some capacity, supervised by a person with an active license. And the board obviously and properly considered the fact that she was the captain of the ship, the one others turned to when they knew they were about to violate California law and didn't want to do so without her direction. She was the one who fostered a corporate ethic of cutting corners to save time and money in a business in which safety and the protection of human life must be paramount concerns. The court cannot say, based on the record as a whole, that the board's decision was whimsical or capricious as to her. How would you respond to that finding by the court?
Sir, that was a decision I made 13 years ago, March 5th. 13 years ago, as of this next March 5th. I have changed a lot in the last 13 years, as I'm sure everybody here has. You learn from your mistakes. They can be catastrophic without a question. But if you don't learn from them, you can't grow. And I have learned and I've grown.
Do you feel that through this process of being disciplined and the subsequent proceedings that you have been treated unfairly by the board?
I don't believe so. I believe they're here in place to protect the consumer, and that is their first and foremost important task. And if they feel I shouldn't deserve a license, then that is their judgment and their decision.
One of the issues that was litigated and has come to light in the petitions for reinstatement is that, and this was stated from the 2016, your most recent petition for reinstatement, and it was reflecting on the previous reinstatement in 2014, explaining that the board felt that, and I'm quoting, "the nature and severity of petitioner's acts and managing the activities of DNS Termite Control was serious, that she remained in strong denial of the omissions which led to a tragic consequences of March 7, 2005, that petitioner demonstrated no remorse or individual responsibility for the death of the victim, and as such presents a continuing risk of harm to the public." What is your position with regards to the death of the victim on March 7, 2005 during the fumigation that you were in charge of?
I can tell you right now, her name is Linda Williams, not just a victim. And I can tell you to this day, I will not come to this board and lie. I know for a fact she was not in that building. I was in that unit. There is no way. Had she come from another unit, I would have closed my doors and felt remorse or guilt about it. I know for a fact she was not in that building or in that unit when I was there and when that gas was shot in that building. And I'm not going to lie about it so that I can get my license back.
You would agree with me that Judge Curiel, Judge Taylor, and the board all found that the evidence supported the fact, or supported the notion, that Ms. Williams was in fact in the building when the fumigation began.
I also hold a document here, and to this day, even after 19 days of trial, I cannot say her name right. Judge Minskowski, I'm sure you know it. Matuszewski, there we go. She found different. Her words were strong to me. She saw all the evidence. Not one day of the hearing was there a board member there throughout the entire hearing. Ron Moss appeared on several occasions, but my board members were never there. They did not hear this. They read it. They didn't hear the emotion or see the reaction of not only myself, but my employees and other people that were brought in as witnesses. But her judgment seems to get lost. Her judgment basically states that the board should not revoke licenses, should not have any ramification against the company, that the fines were too large. And yet, they seem to be ignored. But I respect that. I respect the fact that their job is to protect the consumer. They have a difference of opinion. I respect that as well. But when it comes down to it, this is overlooked frequently at these hearings when I come to my reinstatement.
And you are aware that that decision from the administrative law judge was not adopted by the board.
That is correct.
And you are aware that you, in fact, did take the next decision of the board on a writ to the Superior Court, and it was reviewed by Judge Curiel.
That was on behalf of the company.
But nonetheless, that decision did find that Ms. Williams, the victim, they found the evidence supported that the victim was in the complex when the fumigation started, correct?
I think there was a matter of burden of proof. And
But would you agree with me that the decision found
they
that
made their
so-
decision.
Wait.
I need to
Let's
answer
let
the
him,
question.
if you could, please, just let him finish his
Yeah.
question.
The decision found that the evidence supported the notion that Ms. Williams was in fact in the complex when the fumigation started, correct?
The notion, yes.
And in fact, Judge Taylor's denial of the writ further supports that same notion, correct?
Yes.
And the ultimate decision of the board found the same way, correct?
Yes.
You're currently the president of DNS Termite.
That is correct.
Correct. Okay. And you've indicated that you are, part of your role is really to make sure that the rules and regulations are being followed. As
No,
you
that
can.
is not I apologize.
Oh, okay. No, go
That
ahead.
is not specifically my job. That is my qualified manager's job. My job is to make sure that things are done properly, the company is moving properly, to reinforce the beliefs of doing everything right to the rules and regulations. But it is not my job to enforce it. I'm there administratively, and that's about it.
You made an important point about how you've grown and changed over the last 13 years. And one of the concerns in the past of the board was the finding that not only on March 7, 2005, but that through a pattern of practice that you and DNS Termite Control were placing economic interests over the protection of the public, such as not following the labels on the instructions for Vicane on more than one occasion, as well as shortening the time period for preparation. Would you agree that that statement would be completely contrary to the mission of the Structural Pest Control Board?
Are you having
I-
a little confusion with that question?
Yeah, I
If
am.
you could just rephrase that, if you would,
Yeah,
please.
please.
I'm sorry, guys. One of the concerns of the board through this process has been that they found a pattern in which you, as the head of DNS Termite Control, had placed the economic interests of your company over protection of the public, such as following the label instructions on the Vicane on more than one occasion. Would you agree that doing that is contrary to the mission of the Structural Pest Control Board?
I'm not confused. I'm just trying to figure out where he's going with it. I don't think it's against their mission, but I don't understand completely what you're trying to get to.
Would you agree with me that the mission of the Structural Pest Control Board is the protection of the public?
Well, yes, I've stated that.
And would you agree with me that the Structural Pest Control Board main concern is not with the economic interests of the companies that it licenses?
Yes.
And would you agree with me that the Structural Pest Control expects its licensees to place the protection of the public as the most important part of the work, even if that means it may affect the economic interests of the company?
Well, yes.
And the board found in the past, when you were licensed, that there was a pattern of placing the economic interests of the company over that of the protection of the public. And do you believe that that can change if you were to be licensed again?
I can tell you it already has changed, whether I hold a license or not. It comes down to making sure that the employees that do hold and maintain license have the proper information. And I don't believe I made a pattern out of not bagging food and been throwing it away before consumer re-entered the structure. But it did happen, and I openly admit it. But I never had a real pattern to it. It didn't happen on a daily basis.
This is a difficult question, and I don't mean to be disrespectful. Do you feel any remorse or responsibility for the death of Miss Williams on March 5th, 2000, or March 7th, 2005?
Remorse I do feel. Responsibility I do not. As I said before, I will not come here and lie to gain my license back.
And do you believe that that belief is one that's based on your review of the facts? Or is it possible that it is based on a approach that's easier to live with for yourself?
By far not. It is by fact.
And by the facts as you saw them that day?
I was there. Those are the facts.
You didn't actually search the building, did you? That day?
I was helping bag food and stuff like that, yeah.
Should the board decide to reinstate your license, what would your plans be as an operator?
Really not much different, other than not having to my father's health is failing significantly, but he is required to be in the place of business a certain amount of time, and we try to adhere to that the best we can. He comes in every week for 4 hours a day, and it's a burden on him physically and emotionally. Not only that, honestly, it'd make it easier if I could sign forms again. I mean, just to get a sheet of pesticide usage stamps, it has to have the qualified manager's signature on it. And my father at this point is at a point where it's difficult for him to hold a pen. It's difficult for him, and he's ashamed of it. And I have to endure watching him go through it.
So you would be able to kind of...
I would be able to perform those duties.
The DNS, termite has received a couple of fines. I think it was from the San Diego board over the last couple of years. Correct?
There was a fine for my branch 2 department that we had a service contract on a multi-unit complex where a gentleman was tampering with our bait boxes, but we could not prove it. So we were, I believe, fined $50 for it.
There was a $400 fine?
Was it 400? I don't think so.
Okay. There were
You probably
there were
have
a
it at
couple
work.
fines, correct, from San Diego County Agriculture?
Not on my branch 1 behalf.
Right. Are you, any fines that were issued, were they paid?
Oh, definitely, yes. I paid a significant fine to the Structural Pest Control Board in a timely manner as well.
If the board were to reinstate your license, would you be willing to take the most recent examination for an operator's license as a condition of getting your license back?
Yes?
If I could have just a moment, Your Honor.
Yes, you may.
Charette, after the incident on March 7th of 2005, did your company adjust or change the policy regarding preparing residential areas for fumigation?
Yes.
And how did you change that?
To make sure my guys understood the magnitude of protecting the consumer and either disposing of the food or bagging of the food or the medications or anything behind. It was never customary to check under beds for people or animals or anything. They do now.
Do you agree that's a good idea?
Yes.
Okay. And you indicated that you haven't obtained documentation regarding some of these classes that you've taken in pest control.
That's correct.
Okay. Have those classes been done recently?
My most recent was the Fumigators Forum meeting in Long Beach. I've done some courses with Target's programs of education and Customer Appreciation Day and things of that nature. I have them come into our office to train my employees as well as Unibar.
And when was the last one you took, if you can remember?
It was August.
Oh,
I'm referring to my husband. He went with me.
Okay.
Yeah, of this year. I've been to at least 6 or 7 courses of some nature. And I do this to benefit my knowledge of where the industry's at and everything else.
Okay. And why not get the certificate just to have it?
Because it's embarrassing.
To ask for the certificate?
Because these people knew I had a license before, and then they asked me, what is your license number? And then I kind of get a little hostility of wanting to give me a certificate because I don't have a license. What do I need a certificate for? Then I don't want to get into the long 12-year-old story of why I need to prove it.
But you wanted to get your license back.
I do. I don't think a piece of paper will do that.
You don't think it would assist your petition for reinstatement to have those documents?
I think my actions speak louder than a piece of paper, and if you really want paper, I have receipts for all these classes that I went to.
Did you want to submit those? Or?
I do not have them with me.
Those are the questions that I have, Your Honor.
Thank you so much. Shall we start on the other end for board member questions? Member Duran?
Thank you very much. I have one question to ask. I know how hard it has been to go through an ordeal that you have sustained probably for approximately 10 or 12 years. AMBD is a corporation,
Yes.
and then DNS, Termite Pest Control portion of that corporation.
That is correct.
And you are the president of the corporation?
I am.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about the corporation itself. How many employees do you have at the present time?
As of yesterday, we had 37 employees, but sometimes that's changing because the fumigation industry get a lot of turnover. A lot of new guys come in and decide they don't like that kind of work after all. But yesterday was payday. I had 37 employees to pay.
And when this incident happened 10 or 12 years ago, did you ever lay any of your employees off because of the incident?
Not because of the incident, no.
No, okay. You maintained the full staff. I mean, you kept everybody on.
Not since then, no, because of economics.
Okay.
Other than that, we went through a period of closure. I maintained those employees.
Yeah. I read these documents probably 2 or 3 times now. And as president of the corporation, do you take full responsibility of whatever happened? Whoever was right, whoever was wrong, you know, there's a lot of pros and cons here. But you as an individual, do you take the full responsibility of being president of the corporation?
Yes, I do.
Thank you very much.
Member Van Steenwyk?
No question.
President Tamayo?
So I was hoping that you could expand on how your role and how you maintain sort of a firewall between your overall control of the company versus the licensing requirements. So I'm a public member, so I don't really know how this.
I make sure that I don't render an opinion in regards to the absence or presence of wood-destroying organisms. I've only been on one fumigation site for the last 6 years because the fear that I might do something that might be considered a licensee's duty, like bagging food. I don't need a license to bag a food, but because I work for the company and I'm in that industry, it could be understood that I'm doing it as a licensee duty, whereas homeowners bag their food and they don't need a license to do it. But I don't need to be put myself or my company in that kind of jeopardy. Or even the consumer. I would be misleading the consumer by saying I have a license. I've changed all my business cards. I've changed my emails, everything, to drop out the operator and my operator number and everything. And I did take pride in that. There's no question about it. But it is very difficult. What I do is I make sure that my father has the materials and the information to provide to the employees as the qualifying manager. I'm just his right arm.
And you've stated that, I understand the reasons that you've stated for not obtaining the certificates for the courses that you've taken.
Yes.
Over the last, let's say, 2 years, how many courses have you taken?
Well, I know I've gone to 5 this year. Last year went by so quick. I'd say probably maybe 3 or 4 the year before, where I was preparing my twins for college and had a lot on the agenda. My son was finishing his senior year as football player and everything. So I neglected more of my continuing education or being more involved in the industry.
So could you maybe, for the last couple of years, I realize that there may be a little vagueness because of the time involved, but can you just give a brief summary of what the topics were of the courses that you can recall?
Fumigation safety. The PCOC had something about writing reports. Safety standards. Then I can't remember if it was last year or the year before that I did the UC Berkeley Pest Ed. I can't remember what year it was, to tell you the honest truth. But I've done that several times. And then Target has their fumigation school. Those are some of the things I've done. But mostly it's been through my distributors, Univar and Target, and I've done some branch 2 stuff in regards to the recategorization of the bees. And some of them are now on the extinct list where some aren't. So those are some of the topics I can distinctly remember.
So you sort of went through the distributor ones. Can you kind of lump those together?
Right.
Can you summarize as best you can what the subjects of those were?
Yeah, I thought I just did.
Oh,
I didn't
I'm
tell
sorry, I
you
thought
which
you were
distributor was. No, I didn't. I probably couldn't tell you which distributor it was that had those topics. But the only one that was outside of a distributor was the Pest up at Berkeley.
Okay, so you were just saying that the distributors were the ones that were provided the courses that you had summarized.
Yes.
Okay. And that was the ones that you've done over the last couple of years?
Yes.
Okay, including this last year.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Member Good?
Yes, I have one question. Ms. Shred, in your petition for this reinstatement for today that you signed on in your declaration on June 26th of 17 this year, you state in there the causes for discipline. You only mentioned the removal of food medications prior to fumigation and failure to maintain a fumigation log. Why is there no mention of Ms. Williams in that?
I honestly, Mr. Good, I copied it when I submitted the year before. And if it was omitted then, it was not intentionally.
I mean, I understand that your cause and your thought of the judgment is incorrect, but I still am a little unclear to why that would be mentioned in there.
It is something that was caused to have my license revoked. I honestly, like I said, I copied the form from the year before. So it had to have been omitted on that one as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions from any board members? President Tamayo.
I think a previous request in reinstate your license, you had indicated that you had taken some human resource management courses. Is that correct?
Yes.
So have you taken any more since then?
Yes, I have.
And can you summarize those?
I did how to deal with difficult people, and these are Fred Pryor classes. Let's see, I did difficult people, learning how to manage people. Then the other one was it had to do with Cal OSHA. I can't remember the title of it, but it had to do with OSHA's regulations and stuff and how they're changing.
And that's within the last year or
Years.
so? Okay. You mentioned that you you've tried to instill a culture of strict adherence to the laws that apply to your business. Can you describe sort of specific things that you do to ensure that your staff get that message?
Prior to all this, if you did something wrong, you were talked to. There was really no punishment or any write-ups or anything. Whereas now you do something wrong, you're getting written up for it. You make the same error twice. You're not only written up, you're either going to lose sick pay or vacation time, or you're going to have the day off without pay. I've learned you got to treat them like your own children. There has to be punishment for crime.
Do you have any sort of regular, other than the discipline part, do you have any sort of regular communication, or meetings or something like that about
Yes.
that kind of subject?
Yeah, what we do is definitely once a year we do our I can't remember the name of it, for my fumigation department. We do our safety training, but I piggyback that with our other training. So not only are my fumigators being educated on fumigation, but we also go over saws and ladder safety, roof safety, everything, and we keep it maintained in a safety book. And the Department of Agriculture comes in and inspects that, and I've passed it with flying colors the last 10 years. I also train my people how to handle hazardous materials as well as pesticides. We have a very well-written training program. I do that once a year, but I do follow-ups, what I call tailgate meetings. In the mornings, I'll go out and meet my guys in the yard, usually on Fridays because I'll bring them donuts. And we'll talk about, okay, this is what's new. This, I think, is going to be a hazard. This is where we need to go with this. It just depends on what has happened or occurred in the industry as well as within our company. Like when a guy falls off a roof, we definitely have a tailgate meeting. We don't wait till the next year's training. And we talk about how are we going to maintain a safety level for us. And my guys will throw ideas in and stuff. So we do it, and I do keep record of it. I did not bring it with me.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any further questions from any board members? Anything further from Mr. McDonough?
No, Your Honor.
Are you ready for a summing up?
Your Honor, I'll briefly, yes, I am, Your Honor. I would briefly point out to the board again that the burden of proof is on Ms. Charette to show by clear and convincing evidence, as the judge knows, that she is submitted enough proof that she is capable of operating in a safe and appropriate manner in the case. I, again, am not going to take a position on what the decision should be because that is up to you as the appointed board, I believe. I would encourage you, and I believe you probably already have, to not only give weight to Ms. Charette's testimony documents, but also to look at the other documents because this obviously is a complex case and definitely a tragic case. And I think there is the difficult aspects of your job, as you know better than I, is to weigh the public of protection versus being fair to Ms. Charette. I think the law and the spirit of the law is that the first priority of the board is protection of the public. So keeping that in mind while also considering what would be fair in light of that with Ms. Charette's petition. And I would wish Ms. Charette the best of luck in the future.
Thank you. Ms. Charette, did you want to make a summing up?
I just want my board to know that they are respected, and so is their decision, no matter what it may be. I do ask if you please reinstate my license. I've endured 12 years, almost 13 years of this case. I'm done with it. If you don't, I'll just see you next year.
Anything further from any board member? Thank you so much. Matter submitted?
Submitted, Your Honor.
The matter has been submitted, and we are off the record. Thank you so much. All right. Does anyone need a further break? Okay. That's fine. And if we could have our next petitioner. Our court reporter will give a document that will show. Phyllis, I don't want to put you on the spot. Please have a seat. We are back on the record before the Structural Pest Control Board for our third petition for reinstatement of Aaron Essert, accusation number 2013-45, OAH number 2017-090498. My name is Karen Brandt. I'm the administrative law judge. We have a quorum of the board. May I please take the appearance of the Deputy Attorney General?
Good morning, Your Honor. Tim McDonough, Deputy Attorney General, appearing on behalf of the people of the state of California pursuant to Government Code Section 11522.
And our petitioner, Mr. Essert, is here.
Yes, ma'am.
And you watched the two prior petition hearings,
Yes, ma'am.
and you know how this matter proceeds?
Pretty much.
Do you have any questions about the process?
No, I'll just, whatever you guys need to, whatever you guys need from me.
All right, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Let's go. Mr. McDonough, did you want to
Thank you.
present the petition?
Yes, I would like first to mark for identification and offer into evidence as Exhibit 1 the original petition packet and accompanying documents. The board members and petitioner have been provided with a copy of the same set of these documents. Your Honor, I'll briefly explain the documents. Exhibit 1 consists of the following. August 28th, 2017 correspondence from the board confirming petitioner's hearing date for today at this time and location and a request for confirmation. Petitioner signed confirmation request regarding this hearing at 8 a.m. Today, and this date is September 5th, 2017. There's a July 19, 2017 letter from the board to petitioner regarding guidelines for petitions for reinstatement or reductions of penalty. Guidelines themselves were confirmed, received by Mr. Essert on August 5th, 2017. That's 3 pages total. The petition for reinstatement of revoked applicator's license RA 52425 in branches 2 and 3, submitted by petitioner, signed and dated August 5th, 2017. It's 2 pages. There is a petition for reinstatement of revoked license declaration, signed and dated August 7th, 2017, 2 pages. There's a letter from petitioner to the board explaining his past problems, his road to recovery, and his interest in having his license reinstated. This is 1 page. I would point out it is front and back. Request for live scan service for petitioner, which was completed on July 27, 2017. There was an August 7, 2000 letter from John Essert, the owner and operator of STOP Pest, in support of petitioner and his efforts to have his license reinstated. There is an August 9, 2017 letter from Turning Point of Central California, Male Community Reentry Program, and accompanying document and certificate of completion supporting respondent's petition for reinstatement. Those documents are 3 pages. The July 31st, 2017 form showing that petitioner's driver's license is now eligible for renewal pursuant to Family Code Section 17520, Subdivision A. It's 1 page. There is a letter and default decision and order in case number 2013-45 regarding the accusation and petition to revoke probation against Aaron John Essert, applicator license number RA 52425 in branches 2 and 3. It has an effective date. Oh, excuse me. Applicator's license number RA 52425. The effective date of September 14th, 2013. Also the accusation and petition to revoke probation number 2013-45. And the stipulation for a probationary license signed by petitioner on July 26th, 2011. Those are 17 pages. The default decision revoked petitioner's applicator's license number RA 52425. Next are a series of conviction documents. The conviction documents from Kern County Superior Court regarding people of the state of California versus John Aaron Essert, case number BM 818912A, indicates a conviction for driving without a license in violation of Vehicle Code Section 12500, Subdivision A, on May 13, 2013. It's 5 pages. There are conviction documents from Kern County Superior Court regarding people of the state of California versus John Aaron Essert, case number BF 148409A, indicates a conviction for transporting, selling controlled substance in violation of Health and Safety Code Section 11352, Subdivision A, on November 20th, 2013. That document is 32 pages. Conviction documents from Kern County Superior Court regarding people of the state of California versus John Aaron Essert, case number BF 153996A, indicates convictions for escape from a facility, Penal Code Section 107, possession of a controlled substance, Health and Safety Code Section 11350, Subdivision A, addict driving a vehicle, Vehicle Code Section 23152, Subdivision C, and driving while license suspended in violation of Vehicle Code 1601.1, Subdivision A, on April 7, 2014. Those documents consist of 27 pages. There are conviction documents from Kern County Superior Court regarding people of the state of California versus John Aaron Essert, case number BF 158816A, indicates convictions for driving under the influence of drugs, Vehicle Code Section 23152, Subdivision E, hit and run, violation of Vehicle Code Section 20002, Subdivision A, and driving while license suspended, Vehicle Code Section 14601.1, Subdivision A, on February 25th, 2015. That's 21 pages. There are conviction documents from Kern County Superior Court regarding people of the state of California versus John Aaron Essert, case number BF 162130A. It indicates the conviction for driving under the influence of drugs, Vehicle Code Section 23152, Subdivision E, on February 2nd, 2016. Those documents are 22 pages. Also in the packet is a license history for petitioner's applicator's license number RA 52425, which was initially issued in branches 2 and 3 to petitioner on August 17, 2011, on a 5-year probationary basis as an employee of STOP Pest Control Inc. in Bakersfield, California. On May 10, 2013, accusation and petition to revoke probation number 2013-45 was filed against petitioner's applicator's license, and on September 14, 2013, petitioner's applicator's license was revoked as a result of the default decision rendered. In accusation, petitioner revoked probation number 2013-45. There is also license history for petitioner's applicator's license number RA 41597, which was initially issued in branches 2 and 3. The license was canceled from the files of the Structural Pest Control Board on March 17, 2010. Also license history for petitioner's applicator's license number RA 14744, which was initially issued on May 3rd, 2000. The license was canceled from the Structural Pest Control Board files on March 3rd, 2003. Your Honor, if I could approach.
Yes, you may.
Okay. Your Honor, I would ask from Exhibit 1 with me and ask this document enter evidence. 1.
I'm marking for identification as Exhibit 1 the petition package just described. Mr. Essert, any objections to Exhibit 1?
No,
Exhibit 1 is in evidence.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd give a brief summary of the case.
You may do so.
The board issued petitioner's applicator's license number RA 52425 in branches 2 and 3 on August 17th, 2011, initially on a 5-year probationary status. On May 10th, 2013, accusation and petition to revoke probation number 2013-45 was filed against petitioner's applicator's license based on a conviction for possessing a controlled substance, in violation of Health and Safety Code Section 11350, subdivision A. On or about May 16th, 2013, petitioner was served with copies of the accusation and petition to revoke probation number 2013-45, and related documents at his address of record. Petitioner failed to file a notice of defense regarding the accusation and petition to revoke probation in a timely manner. On August 15th, 2013, petitioner's applicator's license was revoked as a result of a default decision rendered in accusation and petition to revoke probation number 2013-45. The decision became effective on December 14th, 2013. Your Honor, that concludes my presentation of the documentary evidence and case history. And I am prepared to proceed with questions from petitioner at the appropriate time.
Thank you. Mr. Essert, it's now your opportunity to put on your case. The first thing I'm going to do is ask you to stand, and I'm going to swear you in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Would you please be seated? And as you heard with our prior petitioners, what the board is most interested in hearing about is all the rehabilitation you have engaged in to ensure that if your license were reinstated, you would not pose a risk to the public.
Okay. It's a tough case with me. As you can see from my past, I've been in and out of jail. I just went to prison for the second time in my life. I never thought that I would ever have to go after the first time. And I just got out a few months back. I actually had to, I was gone for almost 2 years this time. It's the longest I've ever been away from my family. It's the longest I've ever been clean. And I just never completed any kind of program or anything, or just, I don't know why I did what I was doing and made the choices that I was making and hurting the people around me. I guess I was just kind of numb to everything. And it all started for me basically a back surgery, and it started with the Oxycontin pills, and it just went from a down. It just stole my life from me within a year, and I've just been struggling with it and fighting with it ever since then. And this time, I actually had an opportunity to go to fire camp this year instead of being actually in a prison. So I was working with the firefighters of CAL FIRE, cooking for them, just cutting hedges back, whatever I needed. And that was a very, very humbling experience. But even more so was before I had actually gotten busted this time, I was trying to stay clean, trying to do the right thing, but just didn't have enough clean time to do that on my own. So I had gotten married, and 33 days later, I had to leave my wife for almost 2 years, and the wife and the kids, and it was just something that I don't think anybody or any man or any woman wants to go through, and she stuck by my side. And that meant a lot. I'm 40 years old now. I'm taking classes. I take an ACE class, which is for adverse childhood experiences. I take that every Tuesday night. Every other Saturday, I'm doing men's leadership at the church. I'm in church with the family every Sunday. As things have been somehow, somewhere or another, I got my driver's license back. I mean, I've just had favor because I think I've just been making the right choices. And so things just been kind of falling in place for me. And this is one of the obstacles right now, trying to get this license back, which is, for me, probably a lot more than the next person, because one, my dad owns Stop Pest Control. And it's what I've been doing since I was 16 years old, just doing pest control. And it's a family-owned business, and it's something I want to be a part of. And this January, me and my wife are actually buying 10% of the company. So I'm going to have my hands in that. And I need to be licensed. I need the kids seeing me getting up, going to work every day. They need that from their dad. And especially because with the family that I have right now, my wife, her last husband died in an oil field accident 4 years ago. And so the 6-year-old and the 13-year-old lost their dad. And now I come in, I step in, and then I leave for almost 2 years right away. And I don't think I can't do something like that again. And it wasn't the same this time. When I went in this time, I actually carried myself like a man and not like a prisoner, you know? Like I had a wife, like I have children at home. And I just stuck to my books, I just studied, and I don't know, I can't say what was different from this time to last time, except for maybe I've got a whole new family. And I have everything sitting in front of me right now. And it's just crazy because I can't even tell you the things that I've done the last 3 months. I went to 2 Dodger games. I went to the beach this last weekend. On the 28th, I'm actually flying out to Maryland, going to see my 22-year-old son get married. And that's just like, I haven't had that kind of control in my life in so many years. It scares me to death. And I just want to continue to keep doing the right things. And I'm actually going to be a grandpa. So, and one of the big things that I've done to help change things, I believe in my life, is I have nothing to do with any kind of social media, any kind of friends. They say that the only thing that you have to change is everything, and I believe that's true. So I've had to change people, places, and things, and I just surround myself with my family now. I even brought my manager right here, Mr. Steve Shepard right here. I've been working with him for the last 6 months. He's had shoulder surgery, so basically I've been having to carry around and do everything for him. And he's been able to, I mean, I don't know if you guys want him to speak on my behalf on my character and how I've been doing the last 6 months, but just for him to be good looking through the papers is it Mr. Donahue? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Mr. McDonough.
Just the papers that he was looking at with my arrest record and all this stuff on here, it's embarrassing. I mean, how in the world did I don't even remember half that stuff. It was just like, like I put that stuff like out of my mind and just keep going like it never really happened, but it's just, now I don't do that anymore. Today I look and I see what I've done and I own up to it. And that's hard. that's really, really hard because I've hurt a lot of people. I'm not the kind of guy that's doing pest control, going in people's houses, stealing anything, nothing like that. But for me, it's just I'll be doing good or be working. I'll start taking these pills because my back will be hurting again or something, and then next thing you know, I'm not going to work. I'm not, so it's not like I'm going to people's houses or doing anything like that or nothing like that. I can be trusted as far as that go. When you don't hear from me is when you need to be worried, so. And sometimes I've always just chosen, I'm not going to work. I'm just going to do what I'm going to do, and I'll maintain and do what I want to do. And I don't want that today. I'm driving my mom's Prius over here. It's been a long time since my dad has been like, well, you need to take the car or anything, or the RV or whatever. It's just, I have that relationship with him again. And for my brother to tell me the other day, I gave him a little advice that he was having some problems with, and he told me, he goes, he said, I've missed you, big brother. He goes, I haven't seen you in a long time, and it just touches my heart. And he had the same problems as I did, and now he's completely changed everything. I mean, top sales at work, top production. I mean, he's out of the country all the time doing missionary work for the church and stuff. I mean, it's just, so I really look up to him. And then we have another guy at work, Ryan Barger, who also came before you guys not too long ago. Matter of fact, I think he just finished his probation with you guys. And he's a really good testimony in my life, just seeing him do the things that he's done with his family and get to this probationary period and stuff. My record's long. That's a long record. I started messing up when I was about 18 years old. I don't know. I want this. I want to do pest control. It's my life. I want to do something with this. I want to be part of the owner of the company. I want to give it to my kids. And so this license really means a lot to me. And if you guys need me to do anything in the meantime, as far as complete anything for you guys or whatever, I'm willing to do whatever you guys need me to do. So.
Are you ready for questions for Mr. McDonough now? Mr. McDonough.
Good morning, Mr. Esser. Is that correct? Esser?
Yes, sir.
Are you sober today?
Excuse me?
Are you sober today?
Yes, sir. Almost 2 years.
Okay, what is your sobriety date?
Excuse me?
Do you have a sobriety date?
November 8th, 2015.
So almost 2 years.
Excuse me?
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. Oh, and another thing too is I just talked to my parole officer last week and asked maybe if he would write a letter on my behalf. And he said that he's not allowed to do that, but if you guys wanted to contact him, and that he would be more than happy to speak with you about how I'm doing as far as the program that I run and the testing and everything that he does with me. And he actually told me that since I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing, that either next month or the month after that, he's going to put me up for discharge. So I will be off probation and parole and everything for the first time in years. So that's kind of a big deal to me too.
Mr. Esser, I know I listed a lot of documents. Were there any criminal convictions that the board is unaware of since your license was revoked, beyond obviously the ones that I noted?
Yeah.
Are there any others?
Excuse me?
Are there any other convictions that were not noted in my presentation? Since your license
Not
was
that I
revoked?
know of. Just the last one that I had gotten was the 5 driving under the influences. And that's what gave me 4 years.
Okay. And you, can you explain a little bit about this? You submitted documents regarding Turning Point of Central California, which is a program you attended. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, Turning Point is it's called the Kindermer Center in Bakersfield, and it's an inpatient program. And one of the things my wife told me, she said, you know, before you come home, she said, I want you to complete a program for me. So I had the opportunity because of the record that I have. I guess they would consider me a low-level criminal because I don't have, you know, any kind of like burglary or anything like that or anything. So I was actually able to enter this program called Turning Point. And for the first month, I think we were on a blackout, and you just go to classes all day, and they get your ID and stuff, kind of get you back on your feet and everything. And then after a month, if you have a job, you're allowed to go back to work. And then once you get off work, you come back, you do your classes, you do your homework, you turn it back in. You got counseling 2 times a week. You get a one-on-one once every 2 weeks with one of the head supervisors. So I was a caseload with the head supervisor and somebody that was under her, and it was just a really good opportunity, a really good place for people that want to get back on their feet and actually go to work and take advantage of everything that, you know, that I had to offer you. And but it was an inpatient. I stayed there for about 5, maybe 6 months there, and then I actually got to go from there to home. And I'm still connected with them, so I'm alumni, so I also still go over there and they have me speak sometimes just for the guys, you know, some of the new guys that come in there. I'll go in there and, like, you know, basically tell them how I'm doing and how the program works and how I stay clean and stuff like that. So.
Right. And is it fair to say that your various problems over the last 10 plus years have been related to drug abuse? I'm sorry. Is it fair to say that over the last 10 plus years, your problems are directly related to substance abuse?
Right.
And in fact, you've had struggles with heroin.
Yes.
You mentioned OxyContin.
Mm-hmm. There's not a difference between heroin, OxyContin are the same thing.
Okay.
There's not a difference at all, except for one's legal that you can get in a pill from the pharmacy, and the other you can get on the street. But yes.
Okay. And did you shoot heroin?
Yes, I did.
What other drugs did you use?
That was my main drug of choice, but I like when you're taking opiates or OxyContins or heroin or anything that when you're sick, you'll basically do whatever you have to do just to make yourself feel better. So basically you're just like injecting the flu into yourself, and then you don't have it, and it's just 10 times as worse, you know. So I guess you could say I was a polysubstance abuser.
Okay. And in fact, at times you were involved in selling the drugs, correct?
Excuse me?
You were involved in selling drugs?
Well, I wasn't selling it, like trying to make money off it or anything like that, but I mean, once you get involved with drugs, you get it from one person, you know, and everybody just kind of helps each other out or whatever, but yeah, but I mean, yeah, I guess you could say that it was selling. That wasn't what I was into, but, you know, I just wanted to stay well, and I just wanted to stay numb. That was my goal.
Do you attend NA or NA or a like group?
Yeah, the Turning Point, that's what that is. I actually run the NA groups that's there at the Turning Point.
Okay, so there are NA groups within
Yeah,
Turning
it's
Point.
Narcotics Anonymous.
Oh, okay. And you attend that how often?
I attend that still every 2 weeks. I go there, but I'm also taking an ACE. It's called a Adverse Childhood Experience class right now, and basically what that is doing drugs is just a side effect of what's going on in your heart. And so a lot of these different programs, they want you to talk about drugs, like with the NA and stuff like that. And it's really, really hard. It was really hard for me personally to get clean, being around other addicts talking about stuff. And, it kind of just made you want it, for me personally. But instead of dealing with the addiction part of it, I'm dealing with the hard issue part, why I do it, the deeper stuff, so. And that's what this is called. It's called Adverse Childhood Experiences. Just some of the things I went through as a child that maybe pushed me that way, or whatever. But I'm just dealing with the just different issues and stuff in my life.
Good. And would you agree that your sobriety is your number one responsibility right now?
The way my sobriety works today is the only thing that I have to do today is just stay clean for today, and that's it.
Can you live by
One day at a time, and I tell my wife that. I tell her that all the time. So all I gotta do is just stay clean and just keep my side of the street clean, and that's it. And living with her is like living with a parole officer almost at the same time. So, but yeah, that's something that I'll probably struggle with for the rest of my life, But now I'm actually able to give back and help people that have had the problems that I'm having and stuff.
Does the program you're in, does it require, or are you involved in random urine testing at all?
Oh yeah.
Okay, how often are you tested for drugs?
I can go get the log of all the different tests that I have from them, and now plus I'm getting tested at work. I get tested from my parole officer. I get tests around the corner every week or two. It seems like.
If the board were to determine to reinstate your applicator's license, would you agree to potentially partaking in mandatory random drug testing?
No problem. Yes, sir.
And it sounds like you have a strong support system. That's correct?
Excuse me?
You have a strong support system?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I do.
And you have people to turn to if you get the urge to use drugs?
Absolutely.
Do you get urges to use drugs still?
No, that's like the last thing on my mind today. I don't know. Things are just going so good in my life that I just kind of buried that at the moment, But I mean, sometimes I do have dreams and stuff, and I wake up in the morning and that feeling is there, and I'm like, why do I still get that feeling? Why does that make me want to run to it like that? And I just basically have to get on my knees and pray about it, and tell myself, like I was saying, I just got to stay clean for today, and that's it.
Okay. You've obviously you're obviously addressing the most important concern in your life right now. But have you had the opportunity to take any classes or studies related to new advances in structural pest control over the last? You've been out of the profession since 2013.
No, I've been with the guys at work. We have guys come in, talk about the new materials that are coming out, you know, how we're doing pitching jobs and stuff like that, just all the new rules and regs, but safety meetings and stuff. But none of that, I don't get credit for it because I don't have my license, but I'm still there though.
Oh, so you
Yeah.
still attend?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, if the board were to reinstate your license, would you be willing to take the most recent examination for an applicator's license as a condition of getting your license back?
Yes, sir.
And do you have an appreciation of why the Structural Pest Control Board would be concerned about licensing someone who may be using illegal drugs? Oh, I'm sorry, I had to keep my voice up, I apologize. Do you have an appreciation of why the Structural Pest Control Board would be concerned about licensing someone who may be using illegal drugs?
Do I have
In understanding of the concern of the
Oh
Structural
yeah,
Pest.
absolutely, you guys. I understand just by looking at my record. I'd be like, but I want to be that one guy that you guys actually helped out, you know, and make it. I know it's the statistics as far as heroin addicts goes aren't very good, and you would be going out on a limb for me, and that's what I am asking you guys to do today because I'm just letting you know right now that I know I can do it.
Okay, you just made an important point that the statistics regarding heroin addicts relapsing
Right.
is very high.
Mm-hmm.
What makes you different from all those people that have come and probably said exactly what you just said?
What makes me different? For one, I'm a good person. I'm a Christian. I serve the Lord. I believe that I'm a new creation in Christ. I don't know. I've always believed in myself, and I've always known that anytime that I wanted to do something and applied myself to it, I could do it. And even when it came to being a drug addict, when I applied myself to it, I was good at doing it. And today I don't, I just apply myself to what makes my family happy, what makes me happy, in the long run. I was imagining just being up here in front of you guys today, the last time I was in court, my wife, just sitting back over here, and I'm sitting there waiting for where she was, while I was in court 2 years ago, and they're telling me that I got to go away for 2 years. And I didn't really have an opportunity to plead my case, or I didn't have a say-so. I was done. That was it. I knew I was going away, but I really feel that today I'm in a different position. I'm here with you guys. I have actually an opportunity to just tell you guys, what's going on in my life, and I am asking you guys a lot. I'm really asking you guys to trust me with this license, and to me, that's a complete 180 in my life as it is already. Just instead of, I could have already been back in the other courtroom waiting for my next sentence or something, but I'm not today. I'm right here with you guys, and I really, 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 really want this.
You take a lot of pride in your work that you did at CAL FIRE while you were an inmate.
Oh, yes, sir. That was awesome.
Is it fair to say that your prison term has assisted in your recovery?
It actually did. There's a way that you can do time in prison where either you can be a convict and you can run around and do this and this and that and do your time, and there's another way that you can go to prison and just man up and take the opportunity to actually grow. And for me, not being clean for that long, that 2 years helped me mentally catch up to the rest of my brain, like, so much. I mean, I journal every single day. Every single day I journal. And if I look back even to 1 year or 2 years ago from today, I look at it like, what was I thinking? Like, how immature was that? So I actually do see myself growing more and more and more. And
What prison were you at when you weren't in the fire camp?
I was over at Jamestown. That's where you train to do all the fire training in Jamestown.
What prison were you in before you went to Jamestown?
Wasco. Reception.
What was
Okay.
that?
Wasco?
And then once you get trained for the firefighting, they send you to one of the fire camps from that prison.
That's one of the most successful programs in the Department of Corrections, isn't it?
Excuse me?
That's one of the most successful programs in the Department of Corrections.
Oh, yeah. It was an experience. It was a very, very humbling experience going out there and seeing these guys. Man, I mean, that's now anytime I see the news and the fires going on, I know what's going on. You know, it's kind of like, wow, I never even realized, like, you could make a career out of that right there. And if I'd have been more shape, you know, and a little bit younger, I probably could have done something like that. But this is what I want.
I'm going to,
I know what I want. That's what I do. I've tried to go to the oil fields and stuff before, and I was just like, this just isn't me out here. I like to interact with people. I like to meet new people. You know, opportunity for me. I see my dad do well in the company, and I want to do the same for myself.
those are the questions that I have, Your Honor.
All right. Shall we start with Board Member Good?
Mr. Esser, thank you for your testimony and appears to be truthful testimony, and congratulations on your sobriety of 2 years
Thank you.
and your wedding and your new kids that you have. Tell me a little bit about your kids.
Excuse me?
Tell me a little bit about your kids.
Okay, well, when I was 17 years old, I had a kid. I was a senior, and my girlfriend at the time was a freshman. So I have a son that's 22 years old right now. He's in the Navy. He does advanced electronics on, he does the communications that go from the aircraft carriers to the jets and stuff like that. He takes those apart, puts them back together. He told me the other day, he said, Dad, you wouldn't even believe the stuff that they let us do. You know, I was like, oh, wow. He goes, I'll tell you about it when you come out for the next couple of weeks. So I'm really looking forward to seeing. He met a girl there in the Navy. She's based somewhere else. So she got pregnant. And he's getting married before they have the baby. The baby's due in January, and he's getting married on the 28th of this month. And the way I haven't even met her yet, but just the way that he explains her. He's like, Dad, he's like, my son's real naive. He's really book smart, like very, very smart. But when it comes to like worldly stuff, you know, he's kind of been sheltered by his mom a little bit and my parents. And he's like, she like knows like everything that I don't know, you know. She's like, she completes me, and I was like, wow, that's really cool, man. So I'm excited about that. And then my wife now, she was actually my 8th grade sweetheart. And 23 years later, I got a letter from her on Facebook or whatever. Hey, how you been doing? I was like, oh wow. I mean, she was like my first kiss and everything. This was back in 7th and 8th grade, and I started talking. We started talking, and we just basically picked up where we left off in 8th grade. We had gotten in trouble in 8th grade, and we weren't allowed to talk to each other anymore because we got caught passing letters back and forth in class, we went to a Christian school, and I guess the letters may have been PG-13 or above. I'm not really sure what was on there, but anyways, her parents, my parents weren't allowed to see each other, and so 23 years later, she told me, she said, I loved you my whole life. I've thought about you my whole life. And then her husband died in the oil field accident, and she got a hold of me, and I'm with her. And the 6-year-old, since I've been raising him since he's 3.5, 4, and the 13-year-old, I've been raising her for the last 3 years too. And the 6-year-old's mine. I mean, he never knew his real dad, you know, but the 13-year-old, she was a daddy's boy, and I try to, like, you know, I'm working on it. There's a lot of work, and me leaving her for those 2 years after I just came back into her life, and that she just lost her real dad. It's probably one of the things that affects me the most today, is the relationship with her, and it's something that I told her the other day. I said, "You're just gonna have to give me time. I'm not gonna leave again. I promise you." And she's like, "But you said that last time." And I was like, "I know I didn't." And I said, all I could do is just give you time right now. You just got to give me time. I said, "I'm going to be here, though, for you." And she's a straight A student. He's a straight A student doing good in school. And that's basically where I'm at right now.
I applaud you, and I'm very happy to hear that you're involved in their lives, and I think it's a huge part of your life, and hopefully that'll help you maintain your sobriety.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned that you're in the leadership role at your church. What church are you with?
It's called The Rock.
The Rock?
My dad, he's the associate pastor at the church, and he does the leadership meetings. And I if you knew my dad, you would know that he's the kind of person that you could sit there and listen to, you know, over and over and over. I mean, he loves the Lord. That's his whole life. That's all he cares about. Is about his family and his kids getting to heaven, you know. It's just, and he teaches Bible college and stuff. So he actually went and took these courses for that ACE training. You can look it up if you wanted to on YouTube. I think it shows it on there too. It's called ACE. And so he got certified for that. Now he's teaching that on Tuesday nights. And me and my wife go to that together on Tuesday nights. And the leadership meeting, basically, is just us men. We get together in the morning, on Saturday morning, and we just talk about how to be a leader in the family, and, you know, financially, spiritually, what a husband's supposed to, you know, do for a wife, what a dad's supposed to do for a kid, just kind of just from the men's angle, you know. And my wife's really involved with the girls' side of it too, so it's a big part of our life. That the church pretty much keeps us busy right now.
Good. I'm going to kind of go back to what caused your problem. You mentioned your back. How's your back today?
It didn't hurt not one bit the whole time that I drove down here, and that's amazing. That's something that hasn't happened in a long time. I had surgery years back, and a lot of times I think the reason it started hurting again so much was because I was using. I'm not really sure, but today I do a lot of running and exercising and stuff too, so I don't lift weights heavy anymore. I just lights, but I like to run a couple miles, you know, every other day. And that seems to just have strengthened my back. I went and had epidural shots about 3 months ago, and that was amazing. And they just took a biopsy 2 weeks ago on my left leg because my left leg burns because of the surgery that I had. And they're going to find out exactly what it is, if it's scar tissue or whatever it is. So, but as far as right now, the ibuprofen is working. It's working perfect. Everything's fine.
So clearly you're having conversations with your medical doctors about your prior and
Right.
if
Oh,
you
yeah.
ever-
They know everything.
Okay.
They know everything, what not to give me and everything.
I don't mean to take time, and there may be questions from my other board members here, but tell me about some of the duties that you're doing at Stop Pest Control.
Excuse me?
Some of the duties that you're performing at Stop Pest Control.
Right now, I'm doing one of our biggest accounts. We do the county in Bakersfield, so we're doing all the county facilities, and we're going behind and we're doing a lot of bed bug jobs. I mean, 3 to 5 bed bug jobs a day, and that's what me and Steve's the manager basically. You know, so I'm having to ride with him, and we come behind people, clean up things, take care of problems that they can, because me and him have more experience than any of the guys at work. We got 10 trucks, 10 guys that are at work, so. And sometimes he won't need me, and I'll jump in the truck with one of the other guys and just basically just teach him and train him and stuff right now. I just make myself available.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
President Tamayo?
Thank you, Mr. Essert. When did you get out of prison?
I got out of prison May 5th is when I graduated from the program on Cinco de Mayo.
You got out of prison on May 5th?
No, I got to leave fire camp. I got to leave fire camp 4 or 5 months early to go to the program and get released from Bakersfield right to my house. Instead of being in the fire camp and getting released, because like I was saying, my record is at low level, so I was able to go to a program. I could have stayed there at the fire camp, but like my wife told me, she said, if you're coming home already, then you're going to have to go do some program time first.
So when did you leave the fire camp?
I left for fire camp in November. I left fire camp.
November of last year.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're currently on parole?
I'm not on parole. I'm just on AB 109 probation. I'm not on state parole though.
Okay.
It's AB 109, and I don't know if you know about all that, how that works, but.
So you're still on probation, connected
I'm on
with
probation. It's basically I got to do a mail-in once a month. He comes out to my house a couple times a month. He has me come into his office once or twice a month. And he told me, you've been good for the last 6 months. He goes, I'm going to put you up for discharge. He goes, I'm not sure you'll get it. He goes, but you're one of the guys that I'm definitely going to put up.
How much longer will you be on probation if you don't get, if it doesn't get
1 year.
curtailed?
I'll have 6 or 7 months left.
Okay. You mentioned that you're active in your church. How long have you been doing that
How long have I been active?
in your church?
That's kind of a tough question to answer. The best way I can explain that is I've always had a relationship with God and was raised in a Christian family and basically wanted to turn my back and do my own thing. And I'm a preacher's kid, and they always say preacher's kids are the worst, and there's a reason they say that. But
well, let me be more a little.
okay.
So once you got out of Turning Point,
Okay.
did you start going to church immediately? Or?
Oh, right away. After 2 weeks while I was at Turning Point, we were able to get church passes. And the first service I was at, man, I was on my knees up there at the altar right away.
So that was sometime around the beginning of this year.
Yeah, and I've been going to church all the way through camp and stuff too, and Jamestown too.
And you said that you're in some sort of a leadership position
Men's
in the
leadership
church.
meeting, yeah.
Okay. I think you already described what that's about. Other than that group, are there other church activities or community activities that you're engaged in?
Well, one of the things that I don't really want to say too much about it right now, but our church is actually getting ready to move into this new facility, and it's huge. It's where one of the Bakersfield NBA teams used to play. Anyways, our church got that whole building, the whole facility, and I'm pretty excited about it because it's going to be a lot of opportunity, especially where we live. And my brother's already getting involved with the youth, so he's going to be taking that over, and he actually wants me to be a part of that with him and eventually take over the youth group. And I don't really know how I feel about that today yet. I know it's something that I do want to do, but that's a full-time job when you get involved with the youth. My brother said he goes, once you get involved though, he goes, it's nonstop, 24/7. He goes, you come home from work and you're on the phone with these kids all the time and stuff. And I was like, oh, these kids need to hear what I got to say though, you know. And he seems to think that I have a pastor's heart like my dad does, and he thinks I would be better with the kids than he is himself. But it's something I'm definitely thinking about, you know.
And you mentioned that you have a Narcotics Anonymous group. Mm-hmm. Is it just one group, or it sounded like there were a couple?
Well, because I graduated Turning Point, I'm allowed to go back there on alumni. So on alumni night, basically they'll ask me, hey, will you come in and speak? I'm like, yeah, I'll speak tonight. Sometimes it'll be 2 or 3 of us, and the 3 of us will share the class, and we'll speak our testimony and how we're staying clean and stuff like that.
How often do you do that?
I haven't done it for the past month and a half because I've been really, really busy. And I was supposed to go this Wednesday, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to make that yet either. But every 3 weeks, maybe? Every 3 weeks I do that with the NA.
Since you've been...
Yeah, since I've been out, I go back, and I do one-on-one counseling, so with the counselors there. And
that's oriented towards your particular problem. That's not...
Yeah, that's more of because Olivia, she's the head counselor there, and she's just somebody that I can talk to about anything, and she counsels me and helps me out with a lot of stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Member Van Steenwyk?
I actually have one quick question. Congratulations on your sobriety. So you mentioned in January you're going to be buying 10% of the company. Is that
Yes.
okay? So would you still do that if you don't get your license back today?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. It's something that me and my wife we've been wanting to do. Dad's like, it's a done deal. We're doing it. It's just I want to be more involved, you know. And for me, I don't just want to be a part owner and just sit back, you know, and then collect whatever monthly or whatever it comes in. I have a lot of pride in this company. It's something that I love, you know. It's something that I have. We're the best company there is out there, hands down, and the fastest growing company. 5 years we got 10 trucks already, and even if we buy it, it's even if I don't get my license, we're still going to buy the company. It's just, I don't know how that exactly works, if we put it under my wife's name or if it can't be, and I don't even know how that works. So we just invest, you know. He gave me an amount and we agreed to it, so.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Member Duran?
Yes, one question, Mr. Izzard. Congratulations on your accomplishments.
Thank you, sir.
The child support release form that was signed 7/31/2017 from Kern County Department of Child.
Mm-hmm.
You got that all satisfied, all taken care of?
Do I have it? Excuse me?
Is it all taken care of? Is it satisfied?
Yeah. I make a payment on it every month.
Okay.
I just made one. I have to make a payment before the 20th of every month.
Okay.
Right now, this is the deal with me at work right now. I can't really be on payroll or anything, and I work for my dad's company, so he gives me $500 a month to go help the guys and train the guys, and that's what I've been doing for the last 6 months. I mean, I get benefits as far as letting me use his car and stuff like that. You know, taking me Dodger games or just whatever. I mean, he helps me out, and I really want this license so that I can be more available, so I can, you know, take it to the next level.
Thank you, Raj. What I would like to have seen here, and I looked for it here on the application, is some type. Your dad did a wonderful letter.
Mhm.
You know, I don't know if he does branch 1, branch 2, branch 3, or does all 3 of them. You know, but something that shows that you were employed, and something that would show us or show me that you had the option of buying 10%. That would have been very instrumental in my eyes.
That would have been instrumental.
Instrument to me to make the decision that I have to make later on today. You know, about your license. You know, something that's concrete, something that's I can read and see, and having your dad's, you know, signature on it, saying, "Hey, my son works for me. And he has the opportunity of buying 10% of my company, of our company." You know,
Well, thank you,
that
Mr.
would have been
Ron.
great. But you know,
So hopefully that's a good thing.
thank you very much, Mr. Johnson.
Any further questions? President Tamayo.
Okay, you said that you're not on payroll.
Not on
You-
payroll.
You get some compensation, but just kind of minimal. So how do you make a living?
How do I make a living?
Yes.
I mentioned earlier that my wife's last husband got killed in a oil field accident, and she gets survivor benefits, Social Security, and that's about, I think in March all that ends too. So it's important that I'm able to pick up what we're not going to be getting as far as, you know, making up the rest of it, and being able to make money, because I can't really make any money now being on the payroll right now. But yeah, she does. She gets. She had already gotten the money. Our house that we have is already paid off. The truck, the car is already paid off. I mean, so she did some smart things with it. It's just we're living check to check right now, and it's the kids and her money. It's not, you know, it's our money, but I just want to be able to. Well, she told me the other day. She said, "Well, we're going to be losing about $1,500 because my workers' comp, I guess is what it is, or just I think it's workers' comp. She gets Social Security and workers' comp, but because we got married, the Social Security stopped on her end of it. She still gets the kids part of it. So I don't know how much money that was exactly. Basically, what I'm doing right now is making up for that, and then in March, the rest of her money ends completely. So I'm hoping to be able to step up and do what I need to do. But I'm in a good position to do that, though.
Are you working full time for that small amount of compensation?
Excuse me?
Are you working full time in
Yeah,
your
full-time,
dad's
full-time.
business?
Mhm.
Okay.
My manager right here, Steve, he just had shoulder surgery 3 months ago. So basically, I've been doing his route for him, and he's got his operators. He's part owner of the company too. He owns a percentage of the company too. And so for me to invest into something that he invests into, you know, means a lot coming from him.
You mentioned the child support. Which child are you paying support for?
I have a 22-year-old son that's in the Navy that I'm still paying back payments on.
Okay.
That's all.
All right. Thank you.
Any further questions from any member of the board? Member Duran.
Just one more question for me, if I may. Are you applying any insecticides or pesticides at the present time when you do your bedbug jobs?
Excuse me?
Are you applying any type of insecticide or pesticide when you do your bedbug jobs, when you do your jobs as a helper?
No, what I do for him is I take everything and move it up and around for him.
Okay.
I do all the lifting is all what I'm doing.
Yeah,
Apparently I'm not allowed to apply or anything like that, so.
Thank you. I just want to clear that up. Thank you.
Any further questions from any board members? Any further questions,
I have
Mr. McDonough?
one.
You may.
You mentioned that there's an NA meeting on Wednesday, but you're not sure you're going to be able to make it. Why not?
Oh, goodness. I have so much stuff going on right now. We're going to get back. I don't even know what time we'll get back to Bakersfield tonight, about 10, 11, and 12. And then tomorrow, my daughter's in the band at her school. And so she's actually doing at the Bakersfield Condors game, she's doing the national anthem. And I'm trying to think of it. Before the game, she's doing the national anthem, and then after the second period, I think she's doing, I can't even, "We Will Rock You" or something like that, but at the Bakersfield hockey rink. And that's just something that I don't miss her things for anything, none of her stuff, because that's what her pride and joy is her band, playing in her band at school. She plays the trombone.
Well, I would encourage you to not miss meetings and to make sure you're taking care of yourself and your substance abuse problems, because that's going to be extremely important to your
Right.
daughter, your son, and your life.
Mm-hmm.
And in some ways, you've already been given a second chance, apart from what decision is made today. And like you said, that you're just able to stand here and talk.
Right.
So many people have died from this. So
So what
I would just encourage you, and it's not really a question, I guess, and I'll get off my soapbox, I'm sorry. But I would just encourage you to continue with your sobriety and congratulate you on your success so far. Did you want to call your supervisor as a character witness today? That's something you could do, Judge, if it's up to the judge.
I'm hearing we have enough time. Yes, did you have any further questions?
No, Your Honor, I don't.
All right. Then we shall do so. If you would find a chair somewhere to sit on, if we can.
Do you need me up there, or?
Nope, you're going to sit right down here.
Oh, okay.
Here's one all together.
But first,
I got one right here.
You got one? First, I'm going to swear you in, and we're going to get the full
Great.
spelling of your name.
All right.
You need to throw you on the phone.
So if you'd stand up, do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Would you please be seated, and would you please state and spell your full name?
My name is Steve Shepard, STEVESHEPARD.
And did you just want to make a character statement on behalf of Mr. Messer?
Yes. Well, I've known Aaron for 25 years. His dad, like you said earlier, is an associate pastor at the church. And I started going to the church, and we just became real good friends. And his dad played racquetball twice a week for years, softball teams, so I was kind of like Aaron when I was growing up, the punk rocker, skateboarder type of kid, so we kind of clicked. And so on Sundays, I would go over to their house with them to hang out with Aaron, to try to keep him in the youth group and persuade him from doing the things that he eventually ended up doing anyways, And so he's like a little brother. We call each other, it's my little brother and it's my older brother. So I've seen him go through everything. Having a kid at 17, getting married because his dad said that was the thing to do at that age, because you had a kid, and then the divorce, the drugs, the prison terms. I mean, I've seen it all. And to be honest with you, he's worked with me as a helper all through high school, and at times when he was around, his dad always gave him a job, and he would ride with me. And after about a month or two, I couldn't take it. I just want to kill him, because he's either moving too slow or too fast, because of drugs. And it just irritated me to no end. And so it was funny. My wife actually, about a month ago, asked, "Why are you guys still working together?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Do you realize it's been like 5-6 months you guys are in the same truck every day, 8 hours a day together?" I was like, "Wow, I never thought about that, you know." And I go, "You're right. This is a rare thing. This has never happened before." So I tried to think, why are we still in the truck together? Why don't I want to kill him like I did, you know, in the past? And it was all due to his sobriety. When he's clean, I mean, well, we've been in the truck every day for 6 months now, and he's a good, trying to be a good father to these stepkids that he's got now, and it's a real neat experience, actually, to be able to pick him up every morning and us go to work, complete our day, you know, talk about what his night was about, with his wife, me and my wife, and, you know, bounce things off each other. But to just be in the same truck after 6 months it's a real neat experience. I'm glad that we're able to do that. And so I had told him, you know, due to his sobriety is the reason why he's still at the company. I mean, well, he doesn't know this, but, you know, in the past, I had him fired, you know, because of his actions. I took his dad to lunch, and I said, "That's it, he's done." You know, I was the manager, and he would always give his son the job, and I didn't approve of that, and he was messing up one time, and I told him, "That's it, he's done." I go, "All right, I'll let him go." So I let him go, you know, and due to the drug use. So, yeah, it's this time being married and with his stepkids, and I mean, there's something that's grabbed a hold of him that's changed him this time. That he's serious about it, and about these kids and being a father. I mean, I saw what his dad poured into him. Regardless if he wanted to listen or not, his father has put so many good things into his children that I see it coming out, you know, through all the drug use, prison terms and everything, tattoos and all that running around. There's still the core principles that his dad instilled in him coming out with those kids, and I mean, it'll melt a man's heart to see that. So I'm very proud of him. Very proud of him.
Mr. McDonough, did you have any questions?
I have one. Mr. Shepard, thank you for coming in today. Do you feel confident that Mr. Essert can practice safely as a licensed applicator, drug-free?
Definitely, yeah. I wouldn't allow him to be here if I didn't. You know?
And you're aware of the risk the company or the operator and qualifying manager could be under should an applicator cause a problem?
Sure, yeah, definitely.
Those are the questions I have.
Board members. Board Member Good, did you have any questions you wanted to ask?
Just one, Mr. Shepard, thank you
Mm-hmm.
for your testimony. If he were to fall back or slip, would you just strictly terminate him, or what is your thought process moving forward?
You know, that would be a decision that his father would ultimately make. You know, I'm a percentage owner, his father's a majority owner. But his father, every day, you know, how's he doing? And I shoot straight. You know, I don't cut any corners. If he's messing up, his dad's going to know about it, and we'll shut it down. You know, I'm not into everybody gets a ribbon and, you know, just give the kid a job because he works or because I own the company, you know, type thing. So, yeah, well, not only that, but with all his probation and everything, all his drug testing, I mean, if he was doing anything at all, it would be found out immediately, you know. So, yeah, he wouldn't be working there. We just can't have that, you know. It's family-owned business. It would, if something like that was to happen, it would, you know, destroy their family. So we've got to protect ourselves at all costs. And if he's the problem, then he's gone.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
President Tamayo?
Thank you, Mr. Shepherd. So, if Mr. Essert gets his license back, will he be in a truck by himself immediately, or?
No, no, we don't have the position open right now for that. And to be honest with you, in the last 20 years that me and his dad have been in business together, off and on, Aaron's had a route, I think, twice, you know. But for the most part, what he's good at is, you know, teaching the guys our selling tactics, you know, and then also the technique of the procedures that we do. And so he would be more or less kind of a motivator, you know. Our company is the fastest growing company in Kern County due to the fact that each one of our guys is a salesman. We don't have a sales team. We are our own sales team, you know, and so that's his role, is he rides with the guys periodically and just teaches them how to do what the other guys are doing, you know, work in the industry and also promote the business, sell, and that's his position. So he would, if he ever gets his own route, I couldn't say, but no, it wouldn't be immediately, by no means.
So Mr. Essert testified as to some of the things that he's doing, like with the church and Narcotics Anonymous. Do you have any direct knowledge of what he's doing to maintain his sobriety?
Well, as far as I don't know when he goes. I know he goes I thought it was every Thursday night that he did the classes with his wife, not Tuesday. I could be mixed up there, but his probation officer, I know comes out, you know, a couple times a month. As far as the NA classes, I don't know when he does that. And then I've got to take him to his probation officer. Anytime he calls, we've got to go over there, and he's got to have a meeting with him and fill out reports and stuff like that. So the church stuff I'm kind of aware of. The NA class, I'm not too much aware of that. I don't know when he does that. And that's because I know his dad, and his dad's the associate pastor of the church, and so I'm real familiar with the church aspect of it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Member Van Steenwyk? Member Duran?
No questions.
Could I just have a point of clarification from you, if I may?
Sure.
What is your position with the company, and how much do you own?
I own 2%, and then I'm the manager as well.
Any further questions from any board member? Any further questions?
No, you are.
Is it time for a summing up, Mr. McDonough?
Yes, briefly, Your Honor, I would just encourage the board, again, as I have in the past, to look at all the evidence and obviously keep in mind the public safety and also take into account the mitigation and efforts that Mr. Essert has actually put forth. I certainly wish Mr. Essert the best of luck, first in his sobriety and second in his career, whether it be pest control or otherwise.
Thank you. Mr. Essert, did you want to make a final summing up?
Did you ask me if I want to make
Yes.
another comment?
Did you want to make a final summing up?
No, I really appreciate what you said, Steve. It was funny the other day because he told me, he goes, you know, the only thing that's different between this time and last time was you're sober. And just things, when I'm hearing stuff like that from my family, it's just, you know, it's good to hear. It's good to hear, especially from somebody that I've looked up to for so long. And I know he wouldn't put up with it. And as far as like me getting into a route right away, I'm not trying to jump into my own route or anything. I just want to be available. I just want to be able to, you know, it starts picking up, I can have that extra truck at the house, whatever I need to, whatever they need me for. It's just, I like to be there for whatever I can. And I love selling. That's my thing, is I like to sell and I like to train. So, you might not be able to tell just by because of the way I'm a little nervous today talking in front of you guys. No, but I have a lot of pride in the company, and it's easy for me to go to the neighbor and say, hey, you know, this is what we do compared to the other companies, and it's just something, just to, you know, to see the company build and build and build and build. And I don't know why my dad wants me to pay 10% of it. I think shouldn't he be giving me that anyway someday in the long run? So I was kind of thinking about that a little bit. I was like, wait a minute, why is he selling it to me when it should be mine? No, I thank you guys for listening to me, and I hope you guys didn't take anything wrong about me being really blunt about the addiction and the power of it. It's not something that somebody wants to talk to in front of people, you know, or like I said, when I was looking at this paper right here, it's just like, you know, I hope everybody doesn't see me like that anymore, and I feel like they don't today. I feel like, you know, they don't. I don't want to see that anymore at all.
Thank you. Anything further from any member of the board? Matter submitted?
Submitted, Your Honor.
Okay, the matter is submitted. We will go off the record, and the board will go into closed session. We are off the record.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.